Okay. I'll just say stuff. Use whatever you want, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Chris, can you just tell us about your role?
I'm Nan. I'm head of product here at Linear. I'm one of 2 dedicated product managers. We've been working at adding a lot of intelligence features to Linear, layering on top of the system of record that we've been using for many years. A lot of the problems that people have working with scaled development organizations is that they don't even know where to start. When they have a problem, they don't know who to report it to. When they have an idea, they don't know who to talk to about it. And you rely on things like serendipity, mass broadcasting questions to people. Now we can be more specific. The other day, I saw a customer managing their inbox, and they were constantly applying different kinds of filters, resetting them and applying the same filters again and things like that. Something I can say is, who has worked on inbox filters in the past year? It looks like Alex and Andreas, and this is myself, are people who reach out to and have a conversation about it. I can ask a lot of scaffolding questions, right? And have it really help me walk through the process of creating maybe a proposed project. I saw a customer struggle with having to set and reset their filters constantly. It would be nice to let them save a set and quickly switch in between. Help me through the process of speccing a potential around inbox filters. The agent's smart enough to know that, hey, when we create a new project, there's existing templates that we use. It's walking me through the template. It's like, hey, what's the customer-facing message you want to be able to save on the ships? This causes me to have to reflect and think a little bit, right? I'm not trying to one-shot project specifications. What I'm trying to do is have an assistive technology that's here to really kind of help me think through everything. The specifications are not written in a single session with someone sitting down and composing from scratch, right? It's usually an accumulation of ideas that you've picked up over time. We use Linear to accumulate these ideas, right? We captured them in the forms of issues and customer requests. On this particular project, for instance, we have over 100 customer requests. When it comes time to actually decide what to do, it can be very daunting to read it, right? What I typically do is I open an agent instance and I ask it something like, there's a lot of customer requests. Can you break them down and identify all of the distinct use cases? So agent came back to us. We can immediately see that there's a pretty wide distribution of distinct use cases that our customers have been asking for. What we'll do is we'll analyze these things. Are these problems that we're happy to solve? Or maybe, in this case, we're asking for automations. Maybe some of these actually want to be native features of Linear, right? For example, this piece here about pausing and resuming SLA clocks. So I can ask for some expansion in that, right? So expand the bit about SLA clocks into more detail. What it's saying here, it seems like there's distinct behaviors that customers want to have our SLA feature exhibit. We'll iterate on that feature, right? So make a new project about iterating on SLAs and move all the relevant things into that. Instead, the agent said, okay, great. It made a SLA iteration project, and then it moved all the SLA related things into that. Agent can go through and reslice and refactor our existing projects. And by doing this sort of over and over again, we get a more sensible and well-understood shape of what we're actually trying to do, right? I have a couple choices, right? I can either leave that alone or I can actually try to flesh this out, right? Can you compose a reasonable specification for the SLA project? What agent has done now is it's created an initial spec, right? With things like, and it is, in fact, what it's done, it's matched off of past specifications that I've produced inside of Linear. It's saying hey, Linear's SLA feature does not have pause or resume semantics. That is a pretty compact and effective way to sort of communicate. It isn't just quoting customers back to me, right? What it's doing is saying, based on all of this feedback that we've gotten from customers, here's how I've triangulated, what the perceived feature gap is that they're expressing. I can either agree or disagree with this point of view that agent is expressing, but it is a point of view. Okay, that was a use case. There are other aspects of the agent use case that is interesting, like code intelligence and things like that. Did Tom cover any of that stuff? A lot of times as PMs, we have this moment where we're like, I need to understand how the system works. And traditionally, you would ping an engineer. We don't have to do that, right? We can actually ask Linear directly. And because of a feature of agent called code intelligence, it has access to our code base, right? And it also can use a coding sub-agent to understand how the code base works. So if I have a question like, how does the timing reset today? It can tell me specifically about when the timing for SLA's example resets. It's gonna take a minute. Agent came back and said today it resets it completely, right? It says removing the SLA clears the issue's SLA timestamps. It references specific bits of the code with links out to GitHub. So if I really wanted to examine how things worked, I could just click through on it. I can read this and get a very good sense and a very confident sense of how the app actually works underneath the covers so that we can be a lot more well-informed. It's much more akin to working with a thought partner, right, that has sort of superhuman abilities to read a lot of context rather than thinking about it as like a new feature of the system.